What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hammerstein and today I'm going to talk about the OPPO A60 over here and give you my final review. So normally I like to break it down into 4 main segments over here. So yes, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Okay, so before I go any further, let's just talk about the price of this phone. So here in Malaysia, it will go for about 700 ringgit, which would place it at about the $150 mark. So that is definitely a very good price for a entry-level phone. And for the first segment over here I'll talk about is of course the holding experience. Basically how the phone will feel in your hand on a daily basis. What I can say about this is that it actually feels surprisingly very nice because it does have a good weight to it. It doesn't feel too heavy, definitely, and also it doesn't feel too lightweight either, giving you that cheap feeling. So overall it's very well balanced, and of course if you're going to put it down on your table or whatsoever, you don't have to worry about it because it's actually very flat. Put a phone case on it, you don't have to worry about scratching the cameras or whatsoever. So that is of course really nice. And of course this phone does have your squared sides all around, which is something I really do like in my phone nowadays. It just gives me a little bit more sense of grippiness when I'm holding this phone. So this is something I really do like. The button placement as well is really cool. And what I like about this is that the fingerprint scanner is actually located on the side mounted power button here, so it's very convenient in case if you want to unlock your phone, you don't have to worry about reaching down for your optical under display scanner. So that's of course really good. And of course we have the audio jack here, you have USB-C charging, all located on the bottom end on this phone. So all in all, really nice. And of course the camera layout here is very slim, very simple and minimalistic, so you don't have to worry about it bulging out or whatsoever. And what I like about this as well is the design of this phone, because normally when it comes to this, they had to cut some corners. So on the back here, we do have a plastic back. So what I like about this is the color here, the lightning purple, actually is very cool because it does give you that kind of plain design, but still gives you that hue that comes from this. So it doesn't really stand out too much, which is really cool, but also it does give you a little bit more of some character and personality with this. So all in all, for the holding experience on this, I will give it a solid 8 out of 10. Okay, so next up here I want to talk about is the viewing experience. So this is where you will notice that they will have to cut some corners to make the price go down. So first and all, we're going to talk about is the haptics on this phone. So basically the haptics here, as you would expect, it does give you strong feedback and also some strong vibrations, but it doesn't give you that premium touch as you would expect. Of course, if you go on to the display here, this is where you will notice the major cutbacks have been made. So here we have a 90 Hz instead of a 120 Hz display, and also we have an IPS LCD panel instead of an AMOLED panel. All in all, I would still say it's very decent because the colors that comes out is still very good. It doesn't look very cheap as well. It doesn't feel, the colors doesn't feel like it's out of place. When I was watching shows like my Netflix's X-Men 97, it still looks really good. Of course, you can't compare it to your flagship phones because if you look at the price point, you can't really do that. But what I like about this phone at this price point is the fact that we do have stereo speakers, because most of the time that is where they will cut off and just give us a mono firing speaker. So I really like the fact that we still have a good stereo speaker setup with this phone over here, so you can definitely enjoy your content, your social media, TikTok, Disney Plus, Netflix. You can enjoy it on the go with the nice speakers. And again, like I mentioned before, you have your audio jack, so you can connect all your old earphones with this phone and not worry about it too much. So all in all, in terms of the viewing experience on this, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. Okay, so next up here I want to talk about is of course the user experience. So again, this is where they will have to cut some corners, but again, they still do give you good amount of specs. So here we have the Snapdragon 680. It's not the 700 series, it's more of the entry-level budget-friendly chipset, but it is one of the highest end chipsets. So expect the performance on this to be still quite decent. Of course, if you're going through your social media, you're opening up multiple apps, maybe 2 or 3 is still not too bad. If you're going to do some gaming sessions and also want to open up a few other apps, that is where you will see that the RAM management there would not work out so well. You'll notice a little bit of stutters, some lag, some refreshes on your apps here as well. So I wouldn't expect too much on this anyway, because again, if you look at the price point, you still get a very decent chipset. On a daily basis, if you're not going to do too much with your phone, when I mean by that is you're not going to do too much gaming on this phone, this actually still performs really well, and you don't get a lot of overheating, which is something I really do admire about this phone. And of course, when it comes to charging, yes, it's very decent. We have a good sized battery over here, and the charging speed isn't too bad. 45 watts is still very fast in today's standard, even if you compare it to brands like Apple and Samsung here. So all in all, I would say that the user experience on this is actually very decent. And again, if you couple this up with the software side of things, the ColorOS 14, it still feels really nice in place, and you still get all the bells and whistles with it. So all in all, I would give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. Last but not least, let's talk about the cameras on this phone. And again, this is where you will see some of the cutbacks they've made with this phone. So what I like about this is that, of course, when it comes to the main lens, they still give you a very decent 50 megapixel sensor. So it still would give you sharp images and good colors overall. But of course, if you're taking shots over here, you'll notice that the colors actually do look a little bit more washed out. And of course, some details you wouldn't really get compared to higher end phones. And of course, when it comes to the selfie side of things, this is where again we will see some of the drawbacks on this, because although it takes really good selfies, very decent I would say for the price point, of course you will get some flushed out images. The color doesn't really look too accurate on this, also because of the processing power of this phone right here. But of course, you still have a lot of cool camera features with this phone, so I wouldn't really blame it too much. But again, this is not a phone where people would buy it for the cameras here. But I would say they still give you a decent one. I did wish that they have given us an ultra-wide lens, because I think this is a very useful lens in 2024 standards. But we still get a portrait camera over here for you guys to take your portrait shots. So overall, in terms of the camera experience on this, I'll give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. Okay, so that is it with the OPPO A60 over here. And of course, the ultimate question is, should you go out and buy it? For me, to be honest, for about 150 bucks, I think this is really great value for money over here. You still get a good amount of display here. The speakers as well on this is really cool, because you don't really get this at this price point with many other phones. And the overall experience on this is actually very decent for your everyday usage. So definitely, if you guys want to get this or more budget friendly or as a second phone, it's actually very good, and I would recommend it, because these are just my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, do click the like and smash the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.